Hey, it's me, MLB. Here is chapter 43 of Pull, and this one is titled Back to the Grind. Aizawa continued to the staff room door. "Did you?" Hizashi called loudly after the disappearing introverted teacher. "Shota! Hey!" The blonde, shrill cry didn't even faze Aizawa, who was smirking to himself and still hadn't bothered to look back as the mic quirk holder called out behind him, begging for confirmation and details. You stood before Recovery Girl's room and waited for her to answer. "Yes?" she asked in her elderly voice as she slid the door open. "Oh, good morning, Mrs. Recovery Girl. I've been sent by Aizawa to have my arm fixed, although it's really not that bad. It's just a bruise, and I don't want to waste your valuable time." "Come in," she gestured, stepping back to let you through the door. "Oh, thank you, if it's not too much trouble," you said softly as you walked into the room. You took a seat on her examination table, and she rolled your sleeve up to have a look once you'd pointed out where it was. "This is a nasty bruise," she tissed, looking it over. "Yeah, I don't remember getting it, but it must have been during an incident on the weekend. One of our students lost control of his quirk." Recovery Girl nodded and asked you to lie down, which you did, and she prepared to heal you from the inside out. "Aizawa sent you?" she asked again as she puckered up her lips. You nodded. "He must care about you." She let her quirk take over, and you looked away bashfully at her words, realising that everyone was starting to get on that same brain cell. Once her healing kiss had finished, she stepped back. "Please rest for a little bit. Your body's going to feel tired as my quirk heals everything," she said as she walked over to her desk to write some things down. You lay there staring at the ceiling, thinking back over the weekend, and if you should say something to Tokoyami. "I haven't even spoken to him since that night. I need to let him know that I'm fine and I don't hold anything against him. He might be feeling really bad about what happened." Your brows furrowed in worry for his sake, but before you could keep worrying, a very intrusive image of Aizawa suddenly barged in, with hands on hips, and plonked itself front and centre in your memory recall bank. The furrowed brows vacated your face immediately, and your countenance flushed instead, highly embarrassed that lurid image had suddenly popped up. "Oh, thinking of that, I need to call Grams and talk to her about what to do. I'm definitely not going to tell her all the details about the weekend, but do I try and pursue something with him? Does he like me, or was that just a convenience thing?" The furrowed brows came back, and you let out a soft, exasperated sigh. "Please don't worry," Recovery Girl said from her chair at hearing your sigh. "Your arm will be fixed in a minute." You raised your head and looked at her, confused for a second, then realising that she hadn't heard your thoughts and thought you were sighing about your arm. "Oh, thank you. Yeah, I was just thinking about my arm," you lied. You obviously didn't want to tell her about your unnamed relationship with your boss. She nodded. "You should be okay to go now if you're feeling well enough." "Yes, sure, okay." You sat up and swung your legs off the side of the table, then pulled your sleeve up and had a look. The bruise was completely gone. "Are you feeling okay?" she asked. "Oh, yes, thank you so much," he replied. "Yes, I feel perfect, and the bruise is gone." She nodded and smiled, then gestured for the door, which you understood, and hopped off the table to leave. Back in the classroom, Aizawa was talking to the students about the weekend and where they needed to improve, and you could hear him talking in his monotone voice as you approached the outside and peeked in through the back window to see where everyone was before slipping in the back door. Aizawa's attention shifted to you as you moved inside the classroom, and the students noticed, turning in their seats to see who he was looking at. You froze as all eyes landed on you, and then a cacophony of concerned questions assaulted you. "Miss Lynn, you're okay? Aizawa said you went to Recovery Girl. What happened? Did you get hurt during the witch hunt? I thought you were okay." I'm fine, truly, I promise," you stammered, holding your hands up to calm the students down. "I just needed a bruise fixed." "Bruise, huh?" Mina leered quietly to Jiro. That binding cloth of Aizawa's would bruise for sure. "Quiet," Aizawa's firm voice boomed, his hair standing on end as his eyes glowed ferociously red, immediately silencing the students, making them turn back to face him in their seats. He deactivated his quirk and scowled, and you quickly sat down, trying to disappear into the furniture as much as possible. "The students really do care about me. I wonder if that makes Aizawa angry." You looked at each of them, then your eyes fell on Tokoyami, who had his head down and his shoulders slouched a little. Is that how he normally sits, or is he sad? You thought, making a mental note to talk to him afterwards. The class dragged on, and then the bell rang and everyone got up except Tokoyami. Slowly you stood, intending to get to him, but the girls surrounded you instead, wanting to make sure you were really okay. Are you sure you're in good health, Miss Lin? Yagorozu asked with concern. Yes, Yagorozu, I'm fine. It was just a bruise. I'm glad you're okay. Ribbit, Tsuyu said, her little hands flopping out front as she looked up at you with her large eyes. I promise I'm okay. Are you girls all right? You asked, giving them each a concerned look. Yes, they all replied individually, nodding happily. Miss Lin, would you join us for lunch today? We would love to discuss the weekend's events with you, Yagorozu said innocently, thinking about the activities the students had done and hoping to have some time to discuss improvements with you. Yeah, Mina leered. Please join us. We have questions. Jiro smirked and twirled her earjack around her finger. Yeah, we have plenty of questions. My voice box is dying. Someone send me a new voice box, please. Stay tuned for the next chapter, chapter 44, coming tomorrow. Let's just slog these out. If I die by the end of this book, then I die by the end of this book. But I'm definitely going to get it all up for you guys. See you in the next chapter.